golf clap. Like, kudos to you. You're so insightful. What would we have done without your comment on this video? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here again with me this week. I hope you're ready to get into it. This should be an interesting one. If you are new here and this is the first time you are seeing my face, welcome. I make weekly videos dissecting internet nonsense, so if you're into that type of thing or you like today's video, I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel and it makes sure that you never miss another upload from me. Did you guys hear about the Almond wedding? You heard me. The Almond wedding. Yes or no? No. An Almond did not get married. But a thin influencer did. And she dared to share with the internet what she ate in a day during her wedding. And people immediately lost their minds because she was promoting diet culture. And the original poster's name is Sam Cutler. And you all know how I feel about adding some Sams to the channel, right? Sometimes they fit, sometimes they do not. But I couldn't leave a Sam out here taking this much heat without taking a look at what is happening. So I figured we could take a look and assess the situation together. Here is Sam's original TikTok sharing what she ate in a day at her wedding.
You asked, so here is what I ate on my wedding day. Started with a protein smoothie from Pliables, then my maid of honor fed me some of her green salad. Nothing went undocumented. Then I had another green smoothie again from Pliables. In our bridal suite, we had a huge veggie platter for all of the girls. During our cocktail, I had a bunch of oysters and some of these plantain avocado bites. Our salad was a chopped salad and it was delicious, and we also had gluten-free bread. Then we had an intermezzo course. This is basically just ice and lemon to cleanse the palate. Our main was salmon with lots of veggies and it was delicious. Then we had array blow pills on every table. Our wedding cake was gluten, dairy, and sugar-free chocolate cake. We had a sweet table set up with Unreal chocolates and Smart Sweets, all allergen-free and low sugar. Then we had a late night taco bar, so I had a bunch of tacos. Then ended the night grabbing a few Unreal chocolates for the way home. For alcohol, I only had Koji Rose Rosé because I know it's less than 2 grams of sugar, and I had Moët Chandon because I know that I can feel good when I'm drinking these 2 beverages and still enjoy myself.
So I'd like to start by pointing out that that woman ate more at her wedding than I ate at my wedding. I think I had like a half a bowl of soup and maybe a piece of bread. We got married in the winter, so we did soup, salad, breadsticks basically for our meal. I did not eat a lot of food. Honestly, at the end of the night, I was like, somebody get me McDonald's, I'm about to pass out. So this woman in this clip ate a shit ton of food compared to most women at their weddings. We see her eating, I think she says 2 smoothie bowls, oysters, a chopped salad, salmon, something with avocado. She had champagne, her own wedding cake. There were a lot of things in this clip that she ate. And even if she ate just a bite or 2 of each of them, again, that's more food than I ate at my wedding. So like, kudos to her, because I don't think I've ever been to a wedding where a bride actually gets to enjoy the food that she picked out for the night, right? You're usually too busy running around, managing all the things, talking to all your guests, so you don't actually typically get to eat. So kudos to her for eating some food on that day. And after watching this, I was curious why people were losing their minds. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I originally saw this like a news article site had a really clickbaity title, which is how I was put onto this. And thankfully, Sam hadn't deleted the TikTok so that I could go and watch it. But apparently, the issue is her promoting her lifestyle, which they say is promoting diet culture. So that's the problem. Even though she's a fitness influencer, so like this is what she does for her whole living. And I feel like watching that video, like this is what I would have expected to see from a fitness influencer, actually minus the alcohol. The fact that she drank any alcohol at her wedding, I thought was an interesting takeaway because she is a fitness influencer. Typically that's like a big no-no, right? Because it's just empty calories. So let's take a look at the reaction that I thought was the most interesting to this. And it's from one of my favorite people on the platform, Abbey Sharp. Yay. Could you sense the sarcasm there? No? Okay. Well, anyway, here's Abby's response to Sam's original What I Ate in a Day During My Wedding video.
The Fit Fatale's Almond wedding is triggering AF. So let's talk about it. First of all, she preemptively blocked me, so there's that. But let's take a look at the highlight reel of what this wellness influencer served for herself and for her guests. So the bride starts her day with 2 green smoothies, plus salad and a bunch of raw veg. Seems a bit unsatisfying, to be honest, but if it works for her, it works for me. Then dinner looked, again, quite light, though delicious. So we had a green salad plus some salmon with veg. And then she drops this on us.
Then we had array blow pills on every table.
Yeah, this is where things get a little fucked up. You want to discreetly take your supplements to help aid in digestion on your wedding day? Great, you do you. Your guests can do the same based on their unique needs. But it seems like a lot of energy is being pulled into obsessing over every bodily sensation on this day. And I would think that takes the focus off of what we should be enjoying, and that is our wedding. To encourage your guests to take a pill they're not familiar with and likely do not need just so they aren't bloated feels so inappropriate. Not to mention it could potentially be dangerous for some folks whose medication may interact with the herbs in this RA anti-bloat pill. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but why? Like, gluten and dairy free, I totally get. If you're lactose or gluten intolerant, then of course you'll want to at least have a cake that you can enjoy. Even though admittedly I usually see brides that have severe dietary restrictions have like a small cake for them and then a non-restricted cake for the rest of their guests. Pro tip, this is a great way to save money because gluten, dairy, and sugar-free cakes are expensive as fuck. Sugar-free is a restriction preference, and to not allow yourself and more presumptively any of your guests any sugar on your wedding day, like one day, seems remarkably restrictive.
We had a sweet table set up with Unreal chocolates and Smart Sweets, all allergen-free and low sugar.
Why not offer variety of low sugar and regular sugar sweets? I mean, for someone so concerned about her and her guests' bloated bellies, it is ironic to have a whole candy bar of FODMAP-laden sweets that often do cause gas and bloating. Honestly, if I were a guest at this wedding and I ate mainly vegetables with a little bit of salmon and then sugar-free cake and sugar-free candies, I would 100% have to leave. If not to stop at McDonald's on the way home, then at least because I was having severe GI distress. If she likes this wine, then serve them wine, of course. But if you're choosing a wine just because it has a couple fewer grams of sugar, not because it's actually what you or your guests would like, it's coming from a place of scarcity. And if that's where she's at in her journey, I get it. But why do we need to push this sugar-free agenda on everyone else? I totally support having diet preferences or generally following a diet that helps you feel your best. But ask yourself, will I look back on this one important day that's supposed to be about all my true desires and pleasures and think, man, I am so glad I only ate sugar-free safe foods. Lack of flexibility on these exciting days, like your wedding day, can be a major red flag. So folks, as we head into wedding season, just a little food for thought.
So right off the bat, Abby is angry, like so angry that I thought her eyeballs were going to pop out of her head. And it was kind of a startling response for me. And like, she called it right off the bat, like triggering AF, right? And I love that she thought that Sam preemptively blocked her. And I mean, if Sam did do that, good for her, because Abby is known online for her toxicity. I started watching Abbey Sharp when I was first looking to like get out of my binge eating disorder, when I first kind of stumbled across this side of YouTube, right? Like the weight loss channels, fitness influencers, people like Michelle McDaniels and Alan Roberts. Abbey Sharp was kind of popping up right with them when I first found her. I'm not sure how long she was online at that point. But then I quickly realized that Abby was going to fall rapidly into the health at every size thinfluencer slash registered dietitian. And she has only ever had issues with restrictive EDs. And there's not a problem with that. I get that that's where a lot of these folks are coming from. But the reason I cannot stand watching Abby's content, why she's one of my least favorite people, is that she has this experience with a restrictive ED, and she is one of the first people to tear down other women who might or might not be dealing with restrictive EDs. She has no problem just randomly diagnosing people on the internet with restrictive EDs. And then the other advice that she's passing out is just really bad advice for people who don't have restrictive EDs. I don't know who she thinks she's helping, I guess, is my struggle, because she's mean to people who might have restrictive EDs like she did, but she's also not helping people who don't have restrictive EDs. So I just tend to avoid her at all costs, honestly. There you go. There you have it. Anyway, Abby goes on to say, that food does not look very satisfying to me. And my initial response was like, is it your wedding, Abby? Like, did you have to eat this food? No? Okay, we'll move on then. There was only one thing that Abby and I could agree on, and that was the weirdness of putting anti-bloat pills on all of the tables. I could understand a bride wanting to put those on her own table, like, because, you know, if you eat this way and you find that anti-bloat pills are helpful to you, you can take those things on your own without putting them on every single one of your tables. And honestly, for me, like, if you watch this video, you can clearly tell that she has put a lot of time and energy, a lot of money into this event. Like, why would you want to make your centerpieces look tacky by adding anti-bloat pills to every table? Like, I think that was my takeaway. Like, you made your own wedding look tacky, girl. Like, I wasn't as angry or upset, but a little more like, ooh, I don't know about that. Where we fall apart, though, is Abby claiming that this bride somehow forced her guests to take these pills. She even goes as far as saying something about making people take pills that they're not familiar with and how bad that can be for them. But, like, that didn't happen. Like, we can clearly tell from the original content that Abby is responding to that the pills were on the tables if people wanted them. It was not like Sam served them as like a course, as a part of the multiple course meal she had for her wedding. So, good Lord, take a few seats, Abby. Jeez. Then Abby carries on to give her really weird advice about how she should make her own cake, sugar-free and dairy-free, but making it a smaller cake because that's less expensive, and then letting her guests have regular cake. It was just a whole lot of weird rambling because, spoiler alert, she did have her own little dairy-free, sugar-free cake, and everyone else had cake. Like, it was just a weird thing for Abby to just automatically assume that this woman made every guest at her wedding eat exactly the same way she did. Which, honestly, even if she did that, welcome to a wedding. Abby's response is honestly like textbook definition of why it's bad to make such a quick, angry, like reactionary response, right? We don't know the full story. We don't know that this woman made her guests to eat this way. But again, even if she did, welcome to a wedding. All right, honestly, I am over talking about Abby. She clearly made a mountain out of a molehill. And this false outrage for content is kind of annoying to me. So I'm just gonna move on. So Sam posts that original video, and now she is out here on the internet getting backlash from fellow content creators, really negative comments on her video, whole news articles with clickbaity titles about how she's promoting diet culture at her wedding, calling her an almond mom. So she did what I think anyone would do and shared a video of what her guests were offered at the wedding. Check it out.
Here is what we served at our wedding for guests and how we made our menu inclusive for dietary restrictions. We started by welcoming our guests with a glass of Moët Chandon pre-ceremony, and after the ceremony, we welcomed guests to a cocktail where 9 different appetizer options were served, from ribeye skewers to brie and fig crostini, options I had to forego as someone who is gluten and dairy intolerant. We did have something for everyone though, and we kicked off our 8-hour lavish open bar, which featured the famous 2 grams of sugar rosé, Côte du Rose, which is one of my personal favorites, but we also had an array of different alcohols from Patron to Grey Goose, and we were sure to have something for everyone, from infused water stations and a variety of non-alcoholic beverages for those not consuming alcohol. After guests were invited to their tables for dinner, where they were welcomed with a bread basket, the menus then featured the appetizer chopped salad, and yes, this did have cheese, the brides did not. Since surveying our guests a few weeks before the wedding, we learned that 38% of attendees had dietary restrictions, so our menu was inclusive and identified if a dish was gluten, dairy, or soy-free. We had modifications and alternatives that were available, and a choice between 3 entrees, chicken, salmon, or a vegan bowl. In between the appetizer and the main, an intermezzo course was served, and to finish, we had a molten chocolate cake. Yes, mine was flourless, dairy, and gluten-free, and had a celebratory champagne tower. There was a late-night sweet table with some of our favorite candies, Unreal and Smart Sweets. They are both low sugar and allergen-free. This was also alongside past late-night French fries, followed by a taco bar with all of the toppings, no shortage of guac, and then at midnight, we served margaritas to ring in the full moon ceremony, and we danced the night away on the dance floor. And yes, the Array bloat supplement was available throughout the evening. They were in no means served or forced to any of our guests, but they were available with information from the brand on who can take them, what are the restrictions, and what's actually included in them. I hope this can inspire you to create a menu that works for you at your wedding, to feel your best all night long and be inclusive and considerate of those with dietary restrictions.
So, as you can see, all of that outrage, all of the breath that Abbey Sharp wasted there, because her guests were served so much food. Literally, they could have oysters, crab cake, shrimp, tuna, deviled eggs. They had an open bar. Like, they could choose whatever they wanted to drink. They didn't have to drink the low sugar champagne or whatever they were mad about. They even had non-alcoholic options. They had non-gluten-free bread. They had chopped salad. They offered people entrees that were gluten-free, soy-free. Like, they really put some thought into who was coming to their wedding. What a shame. We should be so angry at people for thinking about other people's limitations, right? Right? I was the most surprised to see that people also had a negative reaction to her response video showing what she served her guests at her wedding. Like, I thought for sure that people would feel like jerks for their initial reactions, like people who went off like Abbey Sharp, because you could see that the claims they were making were just outright not the truth. Yeah, like, okay, you said that she was pushing her ED onto her guests and she clearly didn't do that. So maybe it's time to, like, take a step back and maybe apologize because we didn't fully assess the situation. But people did not do that. They doubled down into their own insanity, telling her to stop trying to rebrand the situation. And how dare her try to push her ED onto her guests. Like, they just doubled down into that. And, you know, the ED that they randomly diagnosed her with. How dare she say that she doesn't have it? They know better. They've watched her one video. So they know. The one comment that really got me, though, the one that really got me was made by a nameless, faceless user on TikTok. And they said, "It's giving desperate for attention, girl. Let it go." And honestly, she's an influencer. Of course she needs people's approval. That is her whole job. If she doesn't have people's approval, she can't really be an influencer, can she? So to this user, I'm just like, golf clap. Like, kudos to you. You're so insightful. What would we have done without your comment on this video? What would we have done? We may never have known that she was an influencer, even though she put anti-bloat pills on all of her tables. Who else would do that besides an influencer? Outside of Abby, there were other responses that I found very interesting. One of which was created from a space that we typically would talk about on this channel, right? They used a lot of fat acceptance, fat liberation talking points to talk about why this wedding really bothered them and why it was promoting diet culture. And I want to bring attention to this side of it, because we have heard fat acceptance and fat liberation folks say more than once that thin shaming or skinny shaming is not the same, not even close to the same as fat shaming. So let's look at that. One TikToker went as far as making a reaction video to Sam's original video, which was nice because we get a name, we get a face, because most of the really negative comments were very trolly. They were made by user 56789 because who uses their real name and face to be cruel on the internet? It's interesting, but she knew that someone somewhere would find her content and potentially try to use it, because she did turn off the easy download video option. So I had to go in the way that I was feeling. I had to go and screen capture that a different way on my phone, which was annoying, but here she is. And I wanted to take this down because maybe not specifically in this video. She did make another video where she used very similar fat liberation talking points about fat phobia being rooted in racism. So let's take a look at what she has to say here.
This isn't the feminist take you thought it was. Putting anti-bloat tablets on guest tables as a party favor is honestly disgusting. Bloating is normal. Gut health is just the newest iteration of diet culture. A rebuttal video to people calling you in to a conversation, you say that we as women should be empowering each other to make autonomous choices about our own bodies. So why are you imparting your views and your opinions about health onto your guests? You also said that you served gluten-free bread, a gluten, dairy, and sugar-free cake, and smart sweets at your night snack table. If you really cared about people with eating disorders, you would know how problematic and triggering that could be. If you really cared about people with eating disorders or those in recovery from eating disorders, you would know that having a slice of pizza or cake, regular cake, is probably the healthiest thing we can do. If you really cared about people with eating disorders, you would know that diet culture is the reason why it is not safe for so many of us to recover. Because recovering into a society that glorifies and promotes disordered eating is nearly impossible. And people are calling you in to a really important conversation. So instead of making a knee-jerk reaction video, I'd encourage you to sit back and listen to what they have to say before just dismissing it. From one creator to another, and as someone who has been called in to do better and to have some really difficult conversations, I'd encourage you to listen to what people are saying, because I think they have some really good points.
So as we can see, much like Abby comes right out the gate misrepresenting the situation, claiming that the bride gave the anti-bloat pills as a wedding favor, which didn't happen, stating that the bride was imparting her ED onto her guests, which didn't happen, and telling her that she should listen to the people who were calling her into the conversation because it was an important one and they were making really good points. And I have to tell you guys, because I'm feeling some type of way today, if you haven't gotten that read already, I looked, like I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled, and I scrolled in both videos, what she ate in a day and what her guests ate in a day. I looked on Twitter, I looked through the news article comments. I didn't find anyone who was making good or logical points or having in-depth conversations about what this means to people with EDs. There were none. Instead, what I found were people mocking this woman, people openly claiming that she clearly had an ED, joking that they'd leave her wedding or order Uber Eats to be delivered mid-ceremony, and claiming that they're going to eat whatever they want at their own weddings after dieting to get into their dress. Wait, what was that? Did you hear that? The woman in this video, Abbey Sharp, women in the comments who I see commenting on other fat acceptance and fat liberation content, are out here saying that you can't judge someone's health just by looking at them. You can't diagnose someone with an ED just by looking at them. You never know what someone's going through. And here they are, openly criticizing someone's body, openly claiming that this person has an ED just by looking at her, and openly admitting that they're going to partake in diet culture so that they can fit into a wedding dress to then binge afterwards. But somehow, Sam, as this bride, maintaining the way she normally eats at her own wedding, where she offered a variety of things to her guests, somehow she is wrong. No, you guys, I don't understand how they managed to negate their own regular talking points about someone who's literally following their same lifestyle the day of their wedding. Like, they didn't change anything. They didn't appear to be doing anything crazy to like fit into the dress. I don't understand. And I mean, now you've also seen both of her videos. This woman's got money. Maybe she just didn't want to feel like shit when she left on her honeymoon, right? Because clearly, based on the amount of money you can see was spent on this wedding, they're going on a nice honeymoon. But in all seriousness, I didn't find there to be any real issue with this wedding. I'm still mind blown that it seemingly broke the internet. Well, at least it broke TikTok. For a couple of days, people were really going off the hashtag Almond wedding, and really letting Sam know how they felt about the way she ate at her own wedding. I do still think it's weird to have the anti-bloat pills on all tables, but in all honesty, have you ever had a friend or family fall into an MLM where they're just really pushing that stuff hard at you? You get used to it, you roll your eyes, you continue eating your food and drinking your drinks from the open bar. Again, I don't think anyone left this thing feeling unfulfilled. I'll also add, and I am not trying to shade a fellow Sam, I promise, unless you're Sammy from Find Food Freedom, then I will shade you all day. But Sam Cutler only has 168,000 followers on TikTok and 106,000 followers on her Instagram. So she's not exactly like a big name fitness influencer, but yes, please take this teeny tiny channel that really bothers you and just blow it out of proportion. That definitely won't help her gain followers. All right, all in all, I wanted to talk about this today. I found it so interesting to see the flip side of what this really looks like. Because like I said, we often see fat acceptance and fat liberation women on TikTok claiming that thin women don't have it as badly. They're not treated badly just for sharing what they eat. They don't get this sort of backlash. And like, this is the prime example of like, yes, they really do. And it was also interesting to have people who follow fat acceptance rhetoric kind of calling this person out, saying she doesn't care about people with EDs, claiming that she has an ED, when that seems to be the exact opposite of what they're consistently preaching at other people, right? We shouldn't judge bodies. We shouldn't judge people's health. We shouldn't judge whether they have an ED. And yet and again, here they are doing that to somebody else. Did you guys see this video before today? Did you see the Almond wedding? What were your initial reactions to it? Have you had a change of heart since we've now talked through it together? I would be curious to know, have you ever had anyone put anti-bloat pills on their table at their wedding? I need to know. Like, these are the questions that I really need answers to. please, please share with me anything you're feeling in the comment section below. You know I always love hearing from you guys, and I'll be checking out those comments after this video goes up. So as always, thank you so much for being here with me today. I will see you in the next one. Bye.